What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? You know what time it is. You either get right or you get left. You're going to go ahead and get right. We got a little something for you today. Caleb McGarry retires. We're going to reflect on that and also possibly the future. Just a quick pop-up show, nothing too long, but guess what? We got to celebrate the going career that this man had. And when I say going, I'm talking about his ass going out the door. So y'all sit back, relax. We got to pay some bills. Let's go. What's going on, man? What's going on? You know how we get down. You either get right or you get left. I'm gonna drop the link today for the fans to come in here. I got you covered over there on X. I'm gonna drop it in a second. Just put it in the YouTube. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. As we say, this right here has been an interesting twist to this all season. Caleb McGarry has officially announced his retirement from the NFL. Look, not celebrating him being hurt, celebrating him retiring, moving on to the next phase of life. Because guess what? You can't play this game forever. But he got to a level that most people couldn't get to. It's just what it is. And he did solid in his run blocking. It was his pass blocking that killed us. But at the end of this here, to be respectful to this man's career, he was here. He really was a great run blocker. Pass blocking, we just needed a little bit more, and we didn't get that. Storm Norton played well, but he was hurt. And last year we had to rely on Elijah Wilkinson, which hurt. Maybe if he probably wouldn't have been injured last year, all I can say is I believe that maybe he would have had some type of impact on being able to keep Penix up. Not saying he's the greatest pass blocker, but I can say none of the quarterbacks got hurt on his watch like that. That I can say. But at this point, we got to start retooling for the future. We've been saying this for the longest. It's going to be some people that are going to be like, you just hate. No, it's just the truth. Business is business. Now, he made his money. No need to cry about it. He did his thing. But at the end of the day, we've got to also see what the future draft is going to hold for us because, as I said before, I've been sharing some guys that have been offensive tackles that are really good that you can actually get. And when you sit back and you think about it, you know, we got the evil twins in the chat right now. We got Coach Cam and we got Artavius in here. They sitting here going back and forth. But I'm going to pop this down real quick. The new Party Line Lounge, as you can see. We did some upgrades during the offseason. We plan on being here a hell of a lot more this offseason, during this next season, as well as some possibly good news for the offseason. But, you know, we had to break it out. Because, it's no need to send Caleb McGarry off in a bad way. Let's send him off in a positive way. He helped us have one of the best rushing attacks in the league for the time that he started, period. Can't take that away from him. Physical, tough, and just one of those guys. He just struggled with pass blocking. But guess what? We all have something in life that we struggle with. It's just what it is. And when you look at what he brought to the table, you know, unfortunately, he was 31 years old. And when you look at this and look at how long that he's been playing, as an offensive lineman, you get beat on. For guys to last 16, 17 years and some to last 8, 9, or 10 years, that's a hell of a feat. And for him to last as long as he did, you got to give him his credit because that's one of the toughest positions on the field, offensive line. That is one of the toughest spots on the field. And let's be real, he's been here in Atlanta since 2019. First round pick. He lasted for a while. You can't take that away from him. There's some guys that don't even get past 3 seasons, but he at least lasted as long as he did. Now, the question is this: which way do you go? And I'm actually getting ready to open this up. See, K-Dub, you got the sunlight. I got the regular light. You see how the light's beaming through the Party Line Lounge, dog. We got to show the folks that we got some upgrades right now for the new season, man. But, you know, we got to celebrate, you know, this guy retiring, not in a bad way. I know we trash him, we talk about him. It's just what it is. But I'm never gonna sit there and kick a man when he's out of the door. I'm at least gonna give him a plate of wings and tell him to get the hell on.
Yeah, man. Definitely surprising news came through. Caleb McGarry retiring, but the way that he's at been protecting, it's time for a change. It's going to be time to rebuild his line. Like I said, I'm adamant about getting Mr. Jake Matthews off the other side. So it's just time for a whole rebuild of that offensive line. It's time to probably pay Bergeron and start to rebuild that line in total, and get that right side solidified for all these left-handed quarterbacks that we have on our roster.
I'm with you on that. And and we see, what's up, Tonio? What's up? What's that? That's Tonio and that's Ron. What's going on? I say this. I don't think that the draft board changes because Ian already talked about that the most important thing to fix on this draft was the offensive line and D line. He talked about the trenches. That is the most important thing to fix in this draft. And when you look at all the diamonds that are here from O-line and D-line, I'll be honest with you. We love to have a Zachariah Branch. We talked about having him, but guess what? If I got a chance to get a top offensive tackle, I'm going to get a top offensive tackle or I'm going to get a top defensive tackle. I don't need skill players to start with. I need us to fix these trenches on both sides, period. Because we can't win games if we don't have the trenches.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I felt like we could get a receiver deeper in the draft. It may not be a Zachariah Branch, but we can bring in a quality receiver. This just changes our whole outlook and path of the draft. I think we could still trade down for more picks after the second round, but the second round is basically going to be an offensive lineman. And the good thing about this particular draft, it's deep in right tackles. So it's not deep in left tackles, but it's deep in right tackles. That's what we need. So I think it's a good problem for us to have. We just need to do our homework on all the right tackles that are available and choose the correct one for the Atlanta Falcons. But this draft, looking at it in total totality, it's very deep in right tackles. So I'm sure Ian Cunningham is doing his homework and doing his due diligence now that he's got the information that Caleb McGarry has retired. So, but I think it's a blessing in disguise for the Falcons because he was set to make a lot of money, and then you can bring in a young face that will help your cap situation in moving forward in the future. So, yeah, I know it's a shock to everyone, all the Falcons faithful out there, but I think in the long run, not the short term, it's a win-win for the Falcons.
I don't look at that as a surprise at all. I expected him to probably get traded, but guess what? He said he did one better. He retired as a Falcon. He was a lifelong Falcon. So I'll never have anything. I'll say this: the only thing I got was his pass protection. That's the only thing you ever heard me talk about with him. Run blocking. You heard me say that he was one of those guys that you can trust in the alley at 3 a.m. to protect Bijan Robinson if a fight broke out. He was that. But when it came to backing up on them hills, Lord, just let him survive. That's all. That's what you was thinking. Let's be real. It was worse with Wilkinson last year. It was much worse with Wilkinson last year, after Penix went down. But now we have Bill Callahan in the building. Most people are not talking about the fact that Bill Callahan is one of the best offensive line coaches in NFL history, next to Howard Mudd and so many that have come, Joe Bugle, and so many that have been that way. And when you talk about a Callahan and bringing in talent, he's going to bring in a guy. Now that the draft board is pretty much going to shift towards what he needs, he's going to bring in a guy that's going to be physically tough, mentally tough, and he's going to have the fundamentals of good hands, good feet, and a high IQ as an offensive lineman. That's what we're going to get with Bill Callahan and what he brings in this draft. Guarantee you that.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it's outstanding that we have one of the better, or probably one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. So he's going to know what to do with this offensive line. Maybe And all in all, maybe that injury to Caleb McGarrett, or having to figure out that he's going to have to work with Bill Callahan and may want to replace him. So it could be a lot of things that were in play with his retirement. But I do believe he'll get the most and best out of the person that he brings in. And it's good that we have him on board and in the fold as the offensive line coach.
I
We'll see
agree.
that moving forward.
I'll say this, man. When we sit back and we look at it, I sit back and I think about it now because we talked about, Proctor out of Alabama. We talked about there's so many tackles that you talk about Monroe Freeling, who we also spoke on as well.
They got him going so high now. I like Monroe Freeland, but I'm like, they got him going like top 10.
But you know what'd be funny? There's a kid, there's a guy, like I said, Freeland could possibly drop in the second round too. But with the Falcons in this situation, it's the funniest
mock draft I'm seeing. I see him going very high. So I mean, anything can happen. You know, they had Shedeur going high, and he dropped to the 5th round. So, we thought
Kobe Bryant was gonna go in the 2nd and 3rd round last year, and we see he got him as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, you just never know. Sometimes you never know.
But you know what? But you're right though, because he's projected that. But who's to say we don't slide in there in Monroe? Hey, you don't even have to go that far. Just jump in your car and we'll just send a U-Haul to bring your stuff right up the road. Literally. If you was to get that, because we know what Monroe Freeland can do. Yeah. We saw that for 3.5 years, and he played through injuries. So
steal right there. If we could pull that off.
But even if you don't get Monroe Freeland, you remember the kid that I told you about named Riley Malman. Offensive tackle, 6'8", 308 pounds.
Yeah.
And plays like a young John Runyon. And that right there, you can't go wrong with him even in the 3rd round. You can get him in the 3rd round. So if you don't get a Proctor or a Freeling or a Burke out of Memphis, if you don't get any of those guys that are projected as top round guys, you got a Riley Malman that you can go look at. And we talked about him on the show before. Malman is a guy that is seek and destroy, and he does not care.
I remember we had a breakdown on him, so we can go back. Our listeners, I'm sure it's in our archives, and you get the breakdown on Malman. But he's a great option for us to select. Yeah, sure.
And I'm looking at some of the other guys that we're talking about when you talk about offensive line. I would take something out of Iowa as well. We know that anything that comes out of Iowa, whether it's D-line or O-line, we already know that it's going to be tough. Yeah. It's going to be tough. And I'll never argue with anything that come out of that Midwestern state. Never.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, leave no stone unturned. Like I say, it's deep. This draft is not deep with like bona fide stars, but it's a great depth draft. But it is loaded with the right tackles, and that's exactly what we need. So it's a great year for him to retire. So I mean, we got guys out there that we can go out there and kick the tires on.
And I got another offensive tackle. I'm working on a breakdown for him, but I'm actually doing one for a guard for Wyoming that plays guard and tackle. But that's Caden Barnett. But I'll have that out later on today for the folks to see. But I'm gonna give you a name, K-Dub, who I actually would look at that offensive tackle spot, and he's a top guy. You look at Spencer Fano out of Utah, 6'6", 311 pounds. He's 6'6", 311 pounds, but in a hot day, he's about 304. He'll lose 7 pounds. Or you can go get Caleb Lamu out of Utah, who's 6'6", 313 pounds. You're talking about a guy that's quick, fluid, a solid left tackle, but he can also play right tackle as well. So when you look at some of these guys, they're definitely guys that can go around. And then you can't forget about Max. I always mess up his last name. In Anchor, that's how you pronounce it. 6'6", 321, 325 out of Arizona State. And you're talking about a guy that can actually protect on either side of the ball. And he's about a tic-tac away from 330. Just going to be real. He's about a tic-tac away from 330. And he can move for a big man. We got so much opportunity to bring in gems. I feel like this is the offensive tackle draft this year. If you look at all the drafts that's here, all the talent that's here. K-Dub, are you there still?
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry about the interruption, everybody.
Oh,
But
you
yeah,
good? No, I didn't know. I didn't know if your sound had went out. That's on me.
all right. Yeah, but I lost contact. But yeah, Malman and the other guys that we're bringing in, be great historian. Sorry
And
about
and here's the thing. So you remember when we were talking about Iowa, right? There's a kid by the name
that.
of Jennings Dunker, 6'5", 319 pounds. He's a strong run blocker. He can transition to guard. He's a third round projection, but he can also play the pass very well as an OT. And then you got Austin Barber out of Florida that we talked about, 6'7", 330, around 325, 330, in between that range. And he's definitely a nasty offensive lineman too.
Oh yeah, I seen a guy to Florida. He's a great option, man. We need to kick the tires on him. Florida guys usually don't be paying it out for us, but kick the tires on him too. Stay at the Midwest, stay at Iowa, stay at Southeastern Conference. But man, I'm not gonna poo-poo the guy. I've seen the guy coming out of Florida. If he's the right fit for us, I mean, I'm not knocking it, man. We got now that this guy retired, we definitely got to find and solidify that right side. That's the side that Tua or Penix or whoever possibly going to be starting out there. That's their blind side. So it's important that they get it right on that side.
Man, it's only look, and this is the first time, and the Lord works miracles, because I'll say this, man. It's only 3 players out of Florida, and I don't like nothing that come out of Florida, because it never works out with Florida boys in Atlanta. Gator boys. Let me make sure I put that outright. Gator boys don't work out in Atlanta. Now, Florida State cats, they totally different in a sense. I say that. But when you look at it, you got George Gums you can get as an edge rusher if Pierce doesn't come back. You got him. You got the defensive tackle out of Florida that you can look at. And we just talked about Barber. And we got to see Barber firsthand this year in October, and how he dominated Quintavious Johnson. He also dominated some of the top linebackers in the country when he got to the second level. And you saw Decatur's own out of that backfield take off because of Austin Barber. So I just look at it like this: many different ways that you can go get a tackle at this point. Many different ways. And then we're not even talking about the FCS guys that are top of the food chain either, or HBCU boys that's top of the food chain.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, kick the tires, man. I'm talking about look at the small schools, look at the bigger schools, the Power Fives, everything, man. I mean, like I say, I feel like this Kia Cunningham, just because he's coming in, he's going to really do the due diligence and the scouting department. Now that he gave you, I mean, I don't think it's an ample amount of time, but he gave you enough time right before the draft to say, let me switch to, if I was looking at corners or looking at, receivers, whatever I may have been looking at, you switch that, you go back into this offensive lineman stack and, gear towards, that's what we're going to take in that second round. And then in the third and the later rounds, then I can see us still trying to trade down and gather more picks like, the plan was beforehand. Definitely.
What's going on, Auntie Pam? What's going on, King Arthur, Eric? I would say there are some free agents out there, but we don't really. I'll say this: we're not gonna put the money towards those free agents like that. Just be honest. I don't think Ian's gonna put that money towards it. I think he's gonna try to bring in a guy that he can draft. But I'm gonna give you this here. We got 3 prospects, K-Dub. I got 3 prospects. I got a 4th one, but I'm gonna say that one for later, because again, I got to show my coach some love, because he actually want to show up for one of the shows, and I ain't gonna talk about one of the guys that came out of his alma mater that's coming out this year. But I got 3 guys right now, HBCU prospects. Now, we just talked about the Power 5 guys. I've been preaching about Bruno Onwuzie out of Virginia State for weeks. You're talking about a guy that's 6'7", 351 pounds. He was the 2024 CIAA Offensive Lineman of the Year. And I'm going to give you this. His comparison is exactly what I said Carson Vincent was last year. And Carson Vincent started from day one with the Baltimore Ravens, being a 4th-round pick, started and got a contract and did not give up any sacks last year. You can look up them numbers. And that's an Alabama State boy. And I tell people all the time, You got big boys that's coming up out of these smaller schools, but I'm heavy on my HBCU guys because I know a lot of them boys eating biscuits and gravy and still moving furniture during the season. They moving furniture. They
Hey
don't
man,
have the polished facilities like some, but guess what? They still are just as physical and as country strong and as nasty as anyone. You 6 foot, bruh, 6'7", 351 pounds. You can't coach that. I drop him down probably maybe 15. I'll say maybe 15 to maybe 20 pounds to get him around 331. You get what I'm saying? Or around 335. I'd get him to drop that weight. But that size that he has and aggressiveness is literally Carson Vincent like. Another guy that I'm gonna put out here for you, K-Dub, is a kid that blocks for Edgerrin James' son. Man by the name of Cesar Reyes out of Howard University. 6'6", 310 pounds. He was on the Legacy Bowl roster. When you talk about it, great in the run game, of course, because Edgerrin James was getting 1,000 yards behind this dude consistently. And when you talk about him protecting the quarterback, his stats really don't show it. But when you turn on the tape and you look at the impact of the footwork, the aggressiveness, and the high IQ of how to protect the player, I mean, bruh, all I can say is it's some dudes out there. It's some guys out there. And I got another one for you, K-Dub, and then I'm going to let you talk about the D-line because I know you've been chomping at the bit at that because you've actually been preaching that in the chat as well because we need a zero tech. We've been saying this for the longest.
Yep, definitely
but
need a zero tech. Lastly,
I'm going to put out here because I'm going to have an HBCU show coming out soon. You got Desmond Daniels out of Alabama State, 6'5", 304 pounds. He's another HBCU offensive tackle with size, strength, and he's like this. Like they say, you said it and you forget it. He's one of those type of guys. You teach it to him one time, he knows it. He doesn't have to go over it 10 to 12 times. And when you look at Alabama State, it's produced great to mid-round picks that have come out of there and have started and played in the NFL. So, again, I'm telling you, Ian getting ready to bring in one of these HBCU kids, even if it's as an undrafted free agent. But offensive tackle, I'm good with him bringing somebody in rough like that because they're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder and they're going to play different than the guys coming out of the bigger schools.
Yeah, I'm for bringing in multiple tackles. You could take one in the second round and then go grab one, in the later rounds or undrafted. You just bring in guys and then let them play it out and fight it out in training camp. And let's see the best offensive lineman wins. I would love for an undrafted guy to win it. I mean, I don't have to pay the top dollar for these other guys. So, I mean, I'm for a lot of competition at the position, going after the HBCUs, giving them an opportunity and see where it falls at. Go up against some Power 5 guys and let's see where mano, let's see who really wants it and become the starting right tackle for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm all for it, though. I think it's a good time for it to happen. Like I said, him being out and Elijah Wilkinson being in was one of the main factors or starting quarterbacks getting hurt. And they can't just say, Penix was brittle because even when Caleb McGarry was in there, Kirk Cousins got hurt. So, I mean, people, like I say, people get hurt all the time when their offensive line is not protecting. It can't just be because this guy has a previous injury history. I mean, if you don't protect quarterbacks in the NFL, you will get hurt. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Cam Newton. His big behind has taken too many hits. That's why he's not in the NFL either. So, I mean, everybody can get banged up in the NFL if you're not protected. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you on that, K-Dub, and that's something when you talk about it, you want to limit the type of pounding that these quarterbacks take because, again, we got two quarterbacks that have not fared well with the pounding of the NFL. Now, if they get on the right conditioning program, they could possibly change it. But it's kind of tough now with this new regime that we have coming in here because, again, this is something that I talked about on Bumper to Bumper this morning. A lot of folks don't think about the fact that Ian Cunningham was responsible for Jalen Hurts being in Philly. He was on that staff that drafted him. That was his guy. Now, he's having issues in Philly right now with management and with the coach, with Sirianni. and it's been known on the radio. It's been 5 teams. ESPN reported it, and Ike Reese was talking about it on the radio earlier. Him and Hugh Douglas. They said Atlanta's in the runnings for him, Cleveland, the New York Jets, the Steelers, and the Houston Texans if they move away from CJ Stroud. I'll be real. I think Ian would try to make that happen, but it's not going to happen this year because Philly would take $100 and something million cap hit like Miami, and they're not trying to do that right now. And they're set to be a playoff team. But when you look at it, if it happens next year where they try to split, where they'll have to pay him like 60 something, which you can eat that, but you're paying him 60 something million in salary cap hit or dead cap, as they would say. He goes to any one of these teams. If he came here, you already know we would have instant credibility because that's a two-time Super Bowl appearing quarterback that won one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you. I want the guy that's here to work out because I don't feel like he hasn't had a fair shake, and I understand the business side. I'd at least like him to have a year where he can actually compete. And if he doesn't win the job, then you move on. But don't just move on from him just yet. You get what I'm saying? Give him a shot.
Yeah. I hear you.
That's what I say about Penix. Give him a shot. That's how I'm looking at it. But we also understand that the NFL isn't about favors and friendship like that. It's more. It's all about this money. That's all. That's all they know.
I just feel like with Penix, it's all about how healthy can he get himself to give himself an opportunity. If he can't get himself healthy enough to give himself an opportunity, they will move on from him. That's what I've factored in my mind. But if he gets himself healthy, he can beat out Tua because, like I said, you're talking about somebody that's had, brain injuries versus a knee. So, I mean, I would take a knee injury over a brain injury because, which would I rather not have, a healthier brain or, walking with a little crutch. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with brain injuries, man. So let's see what happens if we get the right particular line out there and reduce the hits because even with the best line in football, you'll get hit here and there. So things happen in football. But like I say, they may just want to go in a different direction from both of those quarterbacks in this next draft because you got quarterbacks, going to be loaded coming up in this next year's draft. So we don't know what this coaching staff is going to do because they're new and it's very unfamiliar territory for us as fans. We don't know which direction that Ian Cunningham, Coach Stefanski and the rest of the gang want to go. So we hope they want to stick with the Tua or Michael Penix, but hell, we might be buying a whole New Jersey in 27. So here we go.
And you know what? And this is why they created jersey insurance with Fanatics now. Because if a guy gets traded, you can send that back and get another jersey. That's why they tell you buy the jersey insurance because you never know. Like, I'll be real. I'd love to see Penix thrive because, all right, we drafted him as a first round pick. I told you it's just things that I feel like he needs to work on with his game. I never said I ain't want him here. I wanted Daniels, but he's here. I'm riding with him because he's here and he got that logo. But at this point, I need him to be healthy. At least get an opportunity to compete. Don't let them just toss you to the side just yet. Don't let them toss you to the side just yet.
I feel you, but that's what I feel. I feel like he can't get himself to 110%. It's not, these are not the people that brought you in as groceries. These are the guys that went shopping for you, that went to the pro day and seen you sling it at Washington in the right. They didn't see that. They don't care about that. It's like you just a quarterback on this team, and we're here. We're new here, and we're going to evaluate the way we want to evaluate. And if you're not cutting the mustard, they're going to move on. So I mean, I hate to say it, but I got to be brutally honest. I'm a Penix fan, but I just know when a new regime comes in, there's nothing tied to you. It don't matter if they took you high in the draft. They can easily try to find a trade partner and move you out of here for peanuts. So we'll see what happens. I want to see him get himself back healthy. They say he's doing checking all the boxes right now, but people have minor setbacks in their rehab. So he could be rehabbing at an awesome pace, but he's rehabbing too hard and going too hard, and he'll set himself back. So we'll see what happens. I wish him the best, but we'll see what happens.
I'm with you on that. And that's the main thing that you also got to look at. And the thing, like Ms. Pam was saying in the chat, I respect the fact that Caleb McGarry announced it now instead of during or after the draft. Now you give Atlanta a chance to fix a hole on this team. Now we know that you're not going to be here. I can focus on this, and then I can start getting everything else that I need. So that gives Atlanta a chance. That was professional as hell. I know that had to be a tough decision to walk away from the game, but at the same time, you only get one body that the good Lord gives you, and you only get one life. And you want to enjoy the money that you've made. And I pray and hope that he's done well with his financial status, because we know many guys that we hear about after they leave the NFL, the money is not there. And it's been wasted. So I just hope that he was smart about his investments, his money, and, wish him well in the future with whatever he does life-wise. Maybe he could possibly be an offensive line coach one day. And most people don't understand this. Some guys that were mediocre players or solid players become better coaches.
Yeah, he could probably be a great coach. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. They really didn't do a profile on McGarry, but I think he's like more of an outdoorsman. I hope he didn't spend all his money on some of that stuff. But that stuff can be kind of expensive too. Some of the gear for outdoorsmen, hunting deers and things of that nature. But I don't know what he did with his money. They may ask for some. Didn't they just give him some money though last year, right before he got hurt?
Did.
So they may ask for that money back. I don't know.
I think he got paid for last year because he was on the roster. He got paid. But I think this year that kind of voids the contract because he retired. So I don't know if they're paying him still, but we don't know the terms of his contract financially. So it depends on how that goes.
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking they sometimes they ask for money back when you retire. They did that with Megatron. I was watching that behind the football life. He said he was kind of perturbed by the Lions for that. So we hope we don't have that happen. But they may say, hey man, you owe us a little bit of cheese, man. So we'll see what happens, because it seemed like he just got a deal or something right before he got hurt. He came in and signed something. So we'll see what happens moving forward in that situation.
Now, talking about the defensive tackles, like we were saying before we go ahead and get up out of here, because we were just doing a quick pop-up show, because we're going to have more to talk about tomorrow night. But when you look at the defensive tackle class, I think it's a lot of really good players in this class. And for me, I can tell you up front, here's a guy that no one's talking about, and he plays at Iowa. His name is Aaron Graves. He's 6'5", 300 pounds. Now, I know we want a 330-pound guy. I get it. But he's one of those guys that he gets under shoulder pads. He's very, very strong at the point of attack. Very strong at the point of attack. Okay, thank you, Auntie Pam. He says his wife has a heart condition, so he's connected. No, I understand. I definitely understand. You got to take care of home first. It's just a game. Yeah, we root for it and we talk about it. We break it down, but you got to take care of home. Family always is first. We might get mad at things that happens on the field, but the one thing we always are in prayer of is people having great health.
What happened? What Pam say?
No, his wife has a heart condition. That was what she was saying.
Oh my God, Lord!
Yeah, and so he's concerned about his livelihood. So I get it. So most of the time, he's going to be taking care of the family, and that's something that's more important than football at this point. Yeah, prayers for health, man, because there's a lot of people out here that don't have good health, or people that are losing their health, and that's something that you can't take for granted. But getting back to it, so K-Dub, so we've got a couple of prospects. We talked about Bobby Jamison Travis out of Auburn. Talked about him a couple of weeks ago. I was speaking on Aaron Graves or whatnot. I'll put it this way. He's a prototypical Iowa defensive tackle. Nose in the ground, don't get bloody, doesn't mind having a broken nose, and he's going to come up and he's going to hit you in the mouth. Might be a little lighter than some of your offensive linemen, but strong as a bull. One of those guys that you can trust, to keep the pocket, pretty much to keep D-line offensive linemen off of your linebacker so they can make plays. Oh, I'm sorry. McGarry has the heart condition. That's right. Not his wife.
I'm like,
right.
wow.
Yeah, he has the heart condition.
Oh yeah, so he's facing a lot. He got. Hopefully, I swear, I pray he took care of his money because that may be a battle, financially, to get the care that you need with a heart condition. So
But with all
hopefully,
the
he took
type
care.
of doctors that we got and him being a Falcon, and I understand the part of the game where people are not, how can I put it? We understand it's a business, but I know Arthur Blank is going to pull some kind of word and probably talk to one of these doctors around here because I know he's well connected and guarantee you he's going to probably try to look after a guy that gave him everything he had when it came time for that.
Yeah.
But here's
So
another
are
question.
we highlighting the D tackles that are like
Um,
under recognized or just D tackles in general?
right now under recognized because
Okay, I
everybody's
got you.
talking about Dominique Orange, everybody's talking about K McDonald, K Part out of Clemson, and Darnell Jackson and Lee Hunter.
Peter
I'm speaking
Woods
on
and Grace
yeah,
Alton.
yeah. We got to speak on the guys that
Okay,
aren't
I got
getting
you.
talked about because you know how the Falcons are. The Falcons love to take guys that you don't know about. They'll take a guy that the main public doesn't know about, and they'll bring him in. And that's why I'm saying that's why I try to spotlight some of the other guys that are on that draft board or guys that are around the league that you don't hear much about when it comes into getting into the draft because again, the Falcons are known to take guys that you don't know anything about until draft day.
Yeah.
And then you do your research on them. Because there's a lot of people that don't watch college ball into it like how we love to watch it and everything. And some people who do, but then there's
Yes,
a lot of
people
people who
do.
don't care for college ball like that. So here's another guy, K Dub. And he plays in Cincinnati. Dante Corleone, 340 pounds, 6 feet tall. You talk about Chris from 81 Sports or whatnot. Y'all check him out. Him and Smitty Sports Machine. They do their thing over there. But A1, this is his guy. A1 talked about Corleone, and when you look at him, yeah, he's 6 feet tall, but it's hard for offensive
Know what
linemen
I
to
was gonna
get
say?
up under him.
I was gonna say 6 feet, but I
But
got you. I mean, hey, look, if Chris spotlight is something we see him, I'm gonna trust Chris on this one. I back him up.
think about it, K Dub. 6 feet tall at 340 pounds, and he's got a hell of a first step.
Yeah, I mean,
Quick as a cat.
I got to go do my own research, but I back Chris up. I mean, if he likes him, I go look at it.
No, that's Jared Washington is not out of Jackson State. He's out of South Carolina State. I did a profile on him.
Okay, Jackson State.
I did a profile. Yeah, I
He's
did a
out of South
profile on him.
Carolina. He's out of South
That's
Carolina
the cat.
State.
Yeah, that's the cat that I talked about that is really a shutdown corner over 6'4", 190 run, and literally was the fastest out of the East-West Shrine game. No. Hey, Craig, I like the fact that you mentioned Jared Washington. A lot of people don't know who he is, bro. That's why I'm saying I'm glad you mentioned him too.
He's 6'4". Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That intrigued me right now.
You know what? I got you, K-Dub. Hold up. Because see, I don't know if I showed everybody. I don't know if I showed everybody the video on him, but I got to go ahead and do it for you. Hold up real quick. Because I'm gonna bring him up real quick. Because that is a kid that I just love dearly when you talk about what he brings to the table and what he's about. And when you look at Jared Washington, he's a shutdown corner. And his mom, by the way, thanked me for bringing up the video for him. So we're going to bring this up. Fair use. This is Jared Washington out of South Carolina State. So, Craig, since you brought him up, I'm going to go ahead and bring him up for you. Is on Jared Washington, defensive back, South Carolina State, 6'2", 190 pounds, 4'4", Man, when you look at what he's done within the 25 games that he's played, it's just as unforgettable as Martin Luther King's last speech. So let's go ahead and talk about it. 75 tackles, 63 solos, 1 tackle for loss, 4 interceptions with 3 touchdowns attributed to those interceptions, 33 pass breakups, 1 fumble recovery, 1 return field goal block. When you look at him, size, hands, speed, and very fundamentally sound when you talk about how this young man is when it comes to being a coverage corner. The only things that you have to worry about is his early acceleration. He anticipates a little too much. He might miss some tackles here and there, but that right there can be worked on. If you want to look at the comparison of this young man, I compare him to 80s and 90s. Should be in the Hall of Fame, but one of the best cornerbacks in Albert Lewis, who played for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Las Vegas Raiders. When you look back at it, he can definitely have some upside with whoever drafts him. I'd love the Falcons to look at him, but we will definitely see because they still have their pro days coming up, and he still can impress a lot more scouts on the radar. So that's going to wrap it up for Mr. Jared Washington. You know how we get down.
You either get right or you get left. Go.
That's a great breakdown right there, historian. I like the guy, man. Hopefully we can land him.
And here's the thing. I know we're talking about D linemen, and it just made me happy to hear somebody bring that up. But I keep telling people, and the Falcons just signed Jawan Taylor, by the way. Thank you, Craig. I literally just got the notification.
Hey, look, Ian Cunningham, like, man, we know you should retire.
Cunningham ain't playing. But don't think that we won't bring in another player, folks. Just telling you that now. If you look back at it, Jawan Taylor, guess where he came out of school at, bro? University of Florida. 6'6", 330 pounds, played for the Jags and the Kansas City Chiefs, and he comes with a Super Bowl pedigree, by the way. You're talking about a guy that is nasty on that offensive line, really good. And here's the other thing. When you look at it in his first season with the Chiefs or whatnot, you know, Taylor got his first Super Bowl, and he also made an appearance in the Super Bowl when they lost to the Eagles. He started all 12 appearances in 2025, and then he was placed on injured reserve because of an elbow injury, and then he was released by the Chiefs. So depending on how much Ian signed him for, we're bringing in a starting tackle at this point. Starting tackle, K-Dub. So guess what? We bringing somebody that's already started and played. Your mic's not working.
I said that may have been like 30 or 40 minutes, and he found somebody to replace him. That's crazy. Ian Cunningham does it again.
Well, think about it. Another man's junk is another man's treasure. They just literally just released that dude in 2026.
Okay.
They literally released Jawan Taylor, and now we have him. So we got a guy that's a bona fide starter that has played in the Super Bowl, and also has played in playoff games. So, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you right now, that's pretty much going to be your starting tackle on that right side. I can tell you that now. You got a guy that's already got NFL experience and played in the postseason and the Super Bowl. Yeah, that is going to be your starter. And we might be, like you were saying, K-Dub, we possibly could get his salary back. That's the other thing that we're not talking about.
We're going to get it. We definitely going to get his salary back because he retired. We'll definitely get his salary back.
Exactly. So us getting this kid Taylor could play into our favor or whatnot. And again, he played in the system that was he's playing in a system that is very physical, and he's very good in pass pro. So again, we got us a gem for the low. That's how I look at it. Unfortunately, that elbow injury messed him up.
Yeah, I feel like it's a win-win, like I was saying earlier, for the Falcons in this situation, and then for him to replace the guy. I mean, that quickly is pretty astounding. And we still can go into the draft and draft more depth and guys to continue to solidify that offensive line and possibly try to put somebody else over there for Jake Matthews, man. I mean, just start to just rebuild this line. That's just what I'm on anyway.
And I'm with it. And lastly, I'll say this. I still think we draft linemen because we need depth at this point.
Yeah,
you're still going to draft.
I'm still about drafting line. I'm talking about multiple linemen. I'm talking about going to get a guy out in the free agency also. Just bring multiple bodies in to compete, and you never know how you find that guy that nobody was talking about.
So, Jiz.
Oh, man.
No, it's okay. No, Jiz has his right to say that or whatnot. When we talk about Jawan Taylor, yeah, GA Texas boy, you like 2 minutes late, bro.
Hey, but we appreciate you coming on, GA Texas boy.
No, we love GA Texas boy. That's our dog. Normally, he'd be the first one to pop up in here with it, but somebody beat him to it, unfortunately. But no, OG. So here's the thing, bro. I'll tell you the truth. Jawan Taylor fit what Kansas City did. He was bad in Jacksonville. That's no lie. That is no lie. But when he went to Kansas City, they were able to work with him. Yeah, he go back and look at his Jacksonville footage. You're not lying. I'm not sitting here disputing anything y'all boys are saying.
Somebody
All
said
I'm
the false
saying is
start.
this. Well, here's the thing, Cam, because that's Cam right there talking trash. Cam. Well, apparently Andy Reid trusts him or whatnot with Pat Mahomes in that backfield. So I'm just saying. And they still got deep. They still get into the last year was just a bad year. But again, they've been consistently winning. And even with him there, he was starting and they were still getting wins.
I mean, if he doesn't win the position or win the job, I mean, I just feel like it's another great body to bring in to compete. And we'll see who wins it out.
I still think we draft the offensive tackle. I've been saying this for the longest. Well, we got to tackle more body.
I still think we go tackle in the second round because it's loaded with right tackles. But it's good to bring in an experienced veteran in case that young tackle is not up to par quite, in the season starts or whatever it may be.
Well, put it this way. He was much worse with the Jaguars, bruh. That's why they got rid of him. Trevor Lawrence's career was shortened by a few years because of what he did in Jacksonville. I know what you're talking about. Coach McGriff is a Jags fan who comes on here. So don't think I haven't heard about it. But I'll say this, though. I think we either go offensive tackle or defensive tackle at 48 if we don't trade back. That's just my opinion. We getting somebody in the trenches first. Now, if they surprise the hell out of us and go receiver or, go elsewhere, then you can sit back and say, all right, we don't know what this team is going to do, but we need help in the trenches right now.
Yeah.
Skilled players aren't going to do a damn thing if they can't get the ball or stop anything. We're going trenches in the first 2 rounds. If I'm wrong, I'll be wrong, but book me when I say this when I'm right. And I haven't been wrong most of the time with this team. We're going trenches in this draft. I said it last year. We were going to go edge rusher in the draft last year, and we did. I was just wrong about who we took because I damn sure didn't expect them to take a dog.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we took the dog first because later round pick, he's facing some legal battles, and hopefully, I pray that he gets out of it. Hopefully, they can come to a resolution or come to some type of agreement, some kind of compromise on this first date and not take it to court. Because I feel like I say, no one got injured or hurt. So a lot of the only thing that got damaged was a vehicle. I think it should be just millions or some money coming out of his pocket. But you have to learn from this. But that's just my opinion. They may really want to stick it to him because it's in Florida. We'll see what happens. But we've went out there a lot of guys to try to fill his void. But we'll see if that actually works or not. At 10.5 sack void, and we'll see what happens. But other than that, we'll go see what this draft unfolds. He's moving in a different direction and picked up Jawan, and let's see where we go from there.
Hey Cam, now see y'all always talk about me hating on Florida or whatnot. For once, I actually was trying to be objective. I already know his history. I was trying to be objective. Normally, y'all already know I tell the truth to the point to where I run people off. That's generally what it is. But I'll let you be the bad guy today. I got my moment right now in the sun because I argued with some content creators too that tried to tell me I was wrong about Caleb McGarry. And at the end of the day, guess what? I said he was either going to be traded or he was going to find somewhere else to go. And unfortunately, he retired today. But it is what it is. And it depends on who we draft, OGs. It depends on who we draft because if we actually get a solid offensive tackle or a good offensive tackle out of the draft, or hell, if Jack Nelson actually can perform this year or whatnot, we got a chance to actually keep these quarterbacks blindside clean. But it depends on how that feels. But I feel your pain on that, bro. I'm with you. So for us, we're getting ready to shut this down. We just wanted to do a quick pop-up show. Tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. We have the regular show. Got some topics we're going to talk about. We're going to dive more into Caleb McGary's retirement, possible replacement, and possibly next week, depending on how that goes or whatnot, we might have our HBCU prospect show either next week or maybe the week after. I got to talk to talk to a few things or whatnot. But hey, it is what it is. K-Dub, appreciate you for stopping through. And everybody that's in the chat, thank y'all for stopping through to the new Party Line Lounge. We had to do some upgrades, y'all. So this is not a celebration of somebody leaving. This is a celebration of somebody retiring. So for K-Dub, myself, and we definitely will see you guys tomorrow. Y'all be blessed, and we will catch you again into the Birdcage LLC. This was just your pop-up show for the Party Line. We'll catch you next time. Ghost.